Closer.
It's a motorsport, your motorsport show. We apologize for a little bit of a delay with the technical hink we had here and there. We apologize for that little bit of a delay, 10 minutes delay. As really, it's always time, but we are apologetically so sorry for our dear waiting viewers. We are back. Actually, we are just now full blast, and we are glad our signal, free to signal, is also another clear way. You can still watch us live, and with a clear signal, just sit on your TV set, keep it on to WBS TV, and you always have the best of your motorsport show. In studio today, I'm Frank Selgo to present you this show, and I will introduce you in the other few coming minutes the person in as who is our guest tonight. Actually, we have the clerk, of course, David Nsobya, the clerk, of course, the Maralali. We shall introduce him over there, and then we are projectically say we are missing out non-nonsense safety delegate Haj Amit Gombe, who was meant to be with us due to the federation obligations with the AGM now currently running down in Logogo. He was going to be, he's actually not going to be making it. Let me ask you, my producer, we roll straight away to WRC because we want to have a few minutes of the WRC. We'll give you the latest of what's happening around the WRC with the rallies coming on due. In Ble, we actually have the Rally of Sweden on the next block. That is the Rally of Sweden going to be coming in the weekend of 12th to 15th. And many rally drivers are actually going into action. Actually, they have gone testing. And lately in the WRC, we have Hyundai test driver Kevin Abring. The Dutch, the 26-year-old Dutch, is actually going to have his first attempt at the WRC and is coming under Team Hyundai. And Abring was signed early. Abring was signed early January to have, actually, he's basically in there to have a test. They're basically wanting to test one of their best car before getting through the second round of the WRC event. And they're actually trying to check their 2015 specs with their cars. And on team, unfortunate news is Dan Nsobya is actually going to be missing the weekend event of the Rally of Sweden. He had some bit of a slight accident in the just ended rally in Rally of Monte Carlo, and he actually on Thursday this week he wrote to his managers telling them of his unavailability for the Rally of Sweden. And who is going to be replacing Dan Nsobya is actually Hayden Pardon with his co-driver John Cannard going to replace Dan Nsobya for that very event, the Rally of Sweden. And we as Unsped, actually the team Hyundai have written on WRC website indicating Dan Nsobya will be back again after the Rally of Sweden. People are so much expectant, is inclusive is Oti Tanak. Oti Tanak believes that the chance of starting behind, as in by the new regulations of FIA, will give him enough hamper time and attacking moment for his arch rivals in the cockpit. And remember, in the Rally of Monte Carlo, Oti Tanak was one of the fastest runners. Unfortunately, he didn't make it to the podium after getting an accident and veil of fraud, and actually ended it at 18th position overall in the Monte Carlo Rally. And this will Rally of Sweden, where super action is expected on 12th and 15th. He's actually anticipating that with the kind of the terrain and the ice mode, actually the winter situation in Sweden, he's likely to have a good chase, as he's going to enjoy the chase down, having his big rivals, Sebastian Ogier, his other counterpart, Rob, counterpart, Yari Rativera. Then say after Yari Rativera is another man you're seeing on screen just waking up in preparation. He's none other than Vax George and his lead driver, that's Sebastian Ogier. We anticipate he's going to have another good rally. As the seeing on the screen of TV, that's the kind of terrain these guys are headed to in the Rally of Sweden. It's too much of the winter, and the best driver with the best skills will have to make it to the podium, just like it was in the Rally of Monte Carlo. Way back on that same thing, Team Hyundai is actually the mainstream team of Hyundai is going to have Hayden Pardon, I beg your pardon, it's Hayden Pardon. As you see the countdown of the Rally of Sweden, Hayden Pardon is actually joining up Fiore Nuvero in a Hyundai, and that one flying, you've seen flying, is none other than the car of Oti Tanak in M Sport. We are actually living at that spot. We shall have you a drift of the new, we shall give you a more detailed clip running in the close of our program. We are just going to run straight on to our local scene. David,
Yes, Frank.
I'm glad hosting a historical clerk, of course, all around, a man of Mbarara Motor Club, plus some other view, UMC once in a once time, and then so much historically known as in a lifetime clerk, of course, of Mbarara.
Yes.
Welcome to the studio. I think this is the first time, but then to tell you, to give you a hint of through, we had your dad, a historical, one of the black.
I saw him
first
on TV.
Oh, wow. One of the first black, typical black Africans, clerk of course. I know you inherited the talent or the knowledge of being a clerk of course from your dad, Edward Martin Ntege. It all happened here on WBS TV. We are actually having the son who is banning on the regency of the Ntege family. David, we are glad that you can talk to the audience and tell them who is all about, who is David Ntege, because we've always seen you wrong going against rally cars over.
Good afternoon, viewers. David Nsobya is a man who was born into the Ntege rallying family, and so rally is a way of life at our home. All my brothers, all my sisters have at one time.
You don't need to scare us, David.
Participated in the sport. So I've been into the sport. First, I was in those days when we didn't have marshalling, we had control officers. So that's how I got into the sport. I was a control officer. Then I became a co-driver for, mostly for, it was for Guma Richard. I did.
Oh, you did some co-driving for drivers?
Yes, yes.
When was that?
1980s. 1980.
You're an old
towards
man
the
too.
end
You're
of
an old
the
man
80s.
too.
Yes. Then I also navigated for people like Mzee Kenya Wycliffe, and our former president, Uncle Kajimu.
Uncle George Kajimu, that's in the Mitsubishi Lancer?
Yes, but mostly I was with the Guma.
Much of your rally career was too much with the Guma.
Yes.
Those who have known Guma, Guma is another good man, established man who is actually working between, I remember his garage is between before Masaka and Nyendo. Yes. He's actually Guma. You well know Masaka people who are watching. You have your own that you didn't only have a chance of having a rally driver inserted into your area, but you have Guma, another good person. Good, we're having a person testifying.
Yes. So from participating as a co-driver, I left that area very fast and graduated into organizing. I was at one time a competition secretary for the Uganda Motor Club.
The longest serving club, longest old club.
Then I started clerk of the course. So I've been clerk of the course. First I used to deputize for people like the late Jimmy Dean, Paddy Blick, the late also, and then afterwards I became clerk of the course in my own right. But the people I want to thank very much for the clerk of the course work, the people who really brought me into that was my big brother Ande Chigozi and Jimmy Dean.
Ande Chigozi once, you mean Ande did a bit of that work?
Yes, yes, he was. After he used to drive, but then after that he was a clerk of the course.
So you inheriting it direct from your dad?
Yes. So whenever we used to go with those two, Ande and Jimmy, they would make me write notes, to tell them, Banange Nkoye. They say, no, you write.
Continue.
So, with the time, I also managed to get the knowledge, and now I've been clerk of the course for this particular Mbarara rally for more than 10 years.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So
we are actually talking to an experienced person, and those who want to join us, you will send us an SMS, WBS TV 8090, actually WBS TV. Then you put on a word your message and then send to 8090. Or those who can blink at me at my Facebook line, you can go direct on my Facebook address, leave your message over there. I'll try to scroll in over and over, get to read the message to the CR clerk, of course. Directly, as in before I get David into involvement, I need you to go. Actually, coming on next weekend, we have the first round of the motocross round. That's the first round set to be held at Uganda Motorsport Arena. That's in Busika. And guess what? We're having actually none other than the German expert, the man we've already seen very fast in the tight bends. That's Jürgen Cooper joining up Team Uganda. And he's actually jetted in early early last week. He came in and is giving a number of tips to our team, and we're having a number of them benefiting by his presence. To spice up the event, we have an American rider, Sadlak will be in. I'm told Sadlak will be in as in early to next week Monday, and he will join us to have a good event organized at our first round of the motocross round. Many subsequent updates will always be coming in, and actually the latest in that, we are actually so much anxious waiting for the upgrades in the different classes, with 65 having a number of riders raising into the class, and then looking at that is none other than Jürgen Cooper, who is giving a tips to our young riders. And see, it's not only doesn't only work on it doesn't only stop at riding or sitting on the bike and accelerate. It often involves the physical and psychological build-up of a rider. And I believe with such kind of build-up from the grassroots, we have a lot to admire. We have a lot to look up to with such of younger riders raising up. In the 65, we have actually meeting in the 65 is we have Esther Mangala going into for 65. I'm told Habibi Chigongu is also raising to the 65. That young Paul you're seeing struggling is actually upgrading to the 65. And then staying in the 50cc is Isabella Blick, a daughter to one of our sports Bethia, who is actually the UOC president, William Blick. And the Blick little brothers, that's Lester and Paddy. Paddy is staying in the 65cc, as in actually, Paddy is raising in the 60. Actually, he's raising from 65, going to 85cc. And guess who is to compete against Paddy? Is none other than no-nonsense rider, Fortune Centerman, the man who never gives up lightly his chances of winning. And remember, Fortune picked it from the back and raised it back again to win, and defensively go defensive on his title, 65cc, after missing a number of series of events. But then he caught up in the middle of the season and got up to the championship. In that category, we have Fortune Centerman looking at Paddy Roddick Brick, and then we also have Ben Nsobya upgrading to 85cc, and then the younger boys going to chase down up the boys in the 125cc, none other than Lester Blick Jr., then Bobo Ali Uma. Those young boys you're seeing, that's Lester trying his bike, and actually we had spent too much competition. The likes of Tamale, Mike Ontailo, talk about those other guys who have always did that in the 125cc. You just need to be watching. Well, we get back to David. I always feel comfortable with the audiences we have, the guys who have always captivated into this program. Always say, "Wabato lese muzungu, twagala olungereza bamulukomya kunzijinga muyingira twogere olulimi lwebategeera omunyankole watuuka wano wamala nnaku 3 ayogera Oluganda, which I think is one of the vocal languages people always feel comfortable or communicating iramu. David, omaze tunyonyola otulaze bulina akakwati kanene nnyo ku muzannyo guno gw'embulo kazempaka. Wetwogera rally y'embalala esembedde eri kodi ebulayo weeks ndowooza eziba ezijjudde ziri weeks 2 nga 28 mpaka nga lumu ye action day mpozi nga 27 lunaku lwokebera emotoka. Ebyo byonna twagala obitunyonyole oluvannyuma lw'okuba nti ssebo weegulira erinnya weegulira obwa COC mu kilabu y'ambalala moto club ne mukama wange ali wano gy'ava Professor Gordon wava muno kuba balina akakwate. Tubeebaza olw'okuba nti nabo bakwatirako omuzannyo guno nga tebakumye gubanga tebaguyamba oguzimba okutuwa empewo mpozi n'ogussaamu essente oguvujjirira Lakeview Hotel ebadde wooteri ez'ebbanga lyonna nga wetuwumulira wetutandikira wetuwumulira. Nteekateeka ki eriwo David gwe ofunyudde omukisa okuba nti buli ssaawa COC David Nsobya unchangeable?
Kwagamba kilabu yaffe eyambalala tuli abantu batono abali mu kuddukanya kilabu, naye ng'ate erina abantu bangi nnyo,
bangi mbamanyi muhanji
the whole of Mbalala bonna abo bonna bonna bambalala yes. Naye mu organization wano twakiraba nti bwe kibanga tiimu gye tulina ekyasobola okukola omulimu omulungi tewali nsonga ate lwaki tugikyusa. Kale olw'ensonga eyo kuba mainly mu kuddukanya event n'abalala batuyambako, naye core people tugamba akakundi tuli nze David Nsobya, Haji Gombe,
Hajamidu Gombe,
Senga Lilian Businje